Hi everyone. So this is me trying to explain what I've taken months to get into my head about spur pruning red grapevines. I have 21 in my backyard and I'm on my third year, so it's become pretty crucial to understand. It's taken me a very long time to actually get this into my brain because I think a lot of people that make videos, they talk so ambiguously. They talk about fruiting and first year, and it actually doesn't make sense. So this is me trying to attempt to actually explain to people that have absolutely no idea how this works, how it works, okay, in very layman's terms. So I think the first thing I need to do when they talk about grapes growing on 1-year-old wood, what they mean is that I'm just going to use these as examples because you're going to progress from this image to this image to this image, and I'll explain that in a second. But what I mean is that these are where my vines are currently at. The first year I kind of went up, I trained it to VSP. The orange would be my second year. I just took 2 shoots that were below the wire and trained them along. And I'm currently, my vines are dormant. I'll take you outside in a second, but I'm literally now at a point where I have all these bare dormant vines. I'm just going to call them vines. They could be canes going up, and each of them have little buds all the way up to the top, and that just happens. All right, so I'm going to focus on the spur pruning side here because I now have to cut these down, but I've never quite understood what happens year after year and how all this ties in. Okay, so I'm at least going to get us going here, and we can figure out after this. I'm not 100% sure what happens after 5 or 10 years. Maybe you cut the whole thing off. Okay. Basically, what I'm going to be doing this year is each of these, I'm going to be cutting them off with 2 little buds over there. And this is what people mean when they say that you want your fruit to grow on 1-year-old wood. In this case, the 1-year-old wood is going to be the wood that's currently this tall that I'm now in fall. I mean, it's early spring at least. I'm going to cut this off. So this green stalk over here is basically the wood that grew last year. And this year, what's going to happen is these 2 little buds are now going to sprout up and they're going to make fruit. So when people talk about growing grapes on 1-year-old wood, that's what they mean, that you've cut wood that grew the previous year and the new shoots are going to have clusters of grapes. Okay, so I just wanted to clarify that process because it just kind of swims in your head around. No one's actually clearly explained what that means. And that's pretty much going to unravel the whole sequence of events here. I could never quite understand year after year, what do you do? I mean, you know. So basically what I'm going to do this year is, as I've said, I'm going to be cutting these down, each one of these to 2 shoots. Now I am going to run you through some ideas in my head. I'm going to come back to this once we're through with this, because basically what's going to happen is I originally spaced these to each bare grapes because I didn't know what I was doing. And I found that my vines actually, they were a little vigorous. They got too busy, so I even removed some of these because I have a tight vineyard. I don't have a lot of room, and this is not a commercial. This is my little personal vineyard. So what this is going to create is I'm actually now going to end up with 2 canes going where I've now previously had 1. So what I think I might even do in my case is just cut them down to 1 bud every year after year, and I'm going to show you how that works. I'm just differentiating. A lot of videos cut them to 2. I'm not sure why that is. I think it's because maybe they have these spaced enough that they could continuously grow 2 shoots year after year. Mine's spaced a little tighter. I'm talking about the spacing between these, that I don't think I'll have room, so I might just have to cut mine to 1 bud. So bear that in mind as we go along here. I'm going to be using a 2-bud example just because that's like all you can find online. And maybe there's science to it. But anyways, okay. So back to this year. I've now cut these off this year, okay? In a month or two, I'm going to start seeing these shoots grow. They're going to start producing their little grapes, and I'm pretty much going to cut whatever else tries to grow on this vine off. You're just going to train the ones that you want, okay? So here I have a close-up of the, let me just scoot this over. This is just a close-up here so I can really point it out. I'm going to be lopping these off over here and over here. And as mentioned, I might even just be doing down to 1 bud, because I don't think I have room for 2 of these to go up, but I'll just put little dots here. The principle is the same. Now what's going to happen is, at the end of this year, I'm going to go and these guys are pretty much going to be producing grapes. Okay. And at the end of that, this whole thing is pretty much, these guys are going to end up looking like this. Okay. So this cut over here is this cut over here. All right. And within a year, the new shoots that produce the grapes are now going to be dormant. But what you can see now is that I've kind of stacked myself up here. Okay, and year after year, you're continuously going to end up kind of like flip-flopping over the previous year's vines. So these are continuously growing slowly as you cut them year after year. Okay, so I'm just going to put a 3 over here. This is going to be a 4. And this will be a 5 over here. Okay, excuse my drawings. Now, here I am in 12 months' time. Okay, I've gotten my grapes from these guys. Now, what do I do? Now, in this case, you would be cutting this whole limb off. All of this is getting cut off. And you're going to just end up with 2 buds, and you're going to cut right over there. And can you see now, this being the previous year's wood has replaced this, which was the previous year's previous wood. Okay, what's going to happen when I do this? I'm going to end up with this over the next year. This is probably like 2 years ago, and this shoot is now the one that I cut the previous year. And exactly the same thing's going to happen. The 2 buds that I left on this shoot are now going to grow up, and they're going to produce grapes. I'm going to harvest the grapes. This vine's going to go dormant, and I'm literally going to end up with sticks looking like this. What am I going to do? I'm going to do exactly what I did over here. I'm going to select the lowest one of the 2 buds. Every year, the lower bud is going to become the one that you leave. So this is the lower one over here. I didn't draw it very well. So I'm going to cut this off over here, right there. I'm going to snip this off, and I'm going to snip this off. And I'm going to end up with these 2 little guys. And what's going to happen? They're going to grow and make fruit for this year. Okay? And then when they're done and I've harvested my fruits, and they're each going to have 2 little buds at the bottom, again, every year after year, everyone's going to have, well, they're going to have more than 2 buds, but we always cut them down to 2, right? But in my case, because this is the lower one, I will be cutting this whole thing off, and I will just leave, and I'll snip this one off here. So at the beginning of every year, you're going to pretty much end up with a system that grew, got cut, it made a new shoot, and that one got cut, like so, and then this bud grew and it got cut, and you're continuously slowly going to climb up year after year. You're going to grow the cordon or the spur. The little ladder system at the bottom is continuously going to creep up each year, and that's how you year after year kind of get the vines to grow. So I'm going to take a single page now. Unfortunately, I do not have my color pencils. My wife is actually the artist. And I'm just quickly going to simulate over time what we have. So we have the trunk down here and the head, and we have these running down the wire. Okay, and we have a vine. It's very hard to draw and film at the same time, I have to let you know. Okay, so these are gonna, this year, I'll just use that as a bud. There's a bud, there's a bud. I'm gonna demonstrate my method this year simply because my spacing is tight. I think the reason why commercial growers take 2 buds is in case one of them gets damaged from who knows what. And then I don't even know if they decide to use both, if they both grow well. I'm not sure. I'm sure there's a couple of factors into that. So I'm just going to kind of throw a couple in here. So this year, I'm going to cut, actually wait, I'm wrong. I'm going to cut these off down to 1 bud. And I'm going to throw all that away. All right. So I'm going to end up with it looking like so. And so there's my little snip line, and there's my little bud. All right. This is going to grow fruit for this coming year. Okay. When it's done and pruned, I'm going to cut this one off, leaving a bud, and I'm going to cut all this old stuff off. This little bud's going to grow. I'm going to fruit, I'm going to harvest my stuff, and then it's going to leave buds like so. I'm going to cut it down to 1 bud right there, and I'm going to cut all this off, and so it goes. So you're going to end up doing this with your vine. You're continuously going to just trim everything off except the lowest bud every year. And I guess at some point, I mean, I don't know what you do. Do you just lop? I guess you lop the whole lot off and just use a new bud off here to grow a new one. So yeah, let's go outside. I'll quickly show you what I mean, and hopefully this helps you guys. All right, guys, I'm here at one of my vines. This is the trunk coming off. This is the one going along the wire. Here's the other one going along the wire. And so here you can see this is what produced the fruit last year. All right, all these vertical guys. See this, my cat gets paid to tend to the vineyard, and he literally just sleeps all day. I don't even know why I pay him. I'm the guy that has to do all the work. Anyways, so you can see here, there's a bud, there's a bud, there's a bud, there's a bud, tons of buds. Okay, what I'm going to do this year is cut it down to 2 buds. Okay, now as mentioned, I have no room here, so I might just cut mine down to 1. All right, so I'm pretty much gonna, this is what's gonna grow off the side here. I'm gonna get a whole new one growing off. This whole section here is gonna be gone this year. This bud over here is gonna sprout into what I'm holding in my hand, and it's gonna produce fruit. All right, at the end of this year, I need to maybe swap hands. Yeah. Let's put it on this side. Okay. Let's flip this around because there's more buds down there. Okay. So this light colored stick is going to make fruit this year. I'm going to harvest it, and then, oh, focus, damn it. And then at the end of this year, what I'm going to do is I'm going to come in and I'm going to cut this bud off over here where I'm wiggling my finger and leaving just this one bud over here. And then that little stick in my hand is pretty much going to become the next one. And so you just keep laddering up like that. And then I guess at some point when it's just, you've gone up a couple of years, you probably just cut the whole lot off and just start a new one on one of these. So I really hope that helps you guys. I really struggle to get this into my dull brain. And I hope it just helps you guys understand how this stuff all works. Thank you for watching, and please leave comments if I've made any huge mistakes.